still here in Berlin at the Agile Lean European Unconference. And I have a meeting with Olaf Lewitz to talk with him about lean procrastination, what it is and where the value is. Well, Olaf, thanks for your time to have an interview with me.
It's a pleasure.
I'm very inspired by this lean procrastination idea of you.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit how you got it?
Well, sometime last year in autumn, very, very late at night on Skype, a friend of mine, Mark Bless, and I were kind of starting to complain about certain thingies at our client sites, and we came up with this strange idea to create a procrastination coach account on Twitter. And we did that and started tweeting some basically useless, funny stuff about procrastinations, being too late and things like that. And then we came up with the idea that with this procrastination being something that is a psychologically defective thing of being always too late.
Yeah, postponing stuff all the
exactly.
time and then never
But there's
reaching
actually a main element of lean to defer decisions until the last responsible moment, to actively be late, but not too late. And we thought there must be some sweet spot in between. And we coined this term lean procrastination. We set up a website, leanprocrastination.com, without any real thinking. A short time later, we were at the XP Days in Hamburg, and I proposed a session on lean procrastination because I wanted to find out what it is. Which led to the interesting fact that people, because I placed it outside the timeline, because I said it doesn't make sense to assign a time to a procrastination session, which was quite funny for people, and they started tweeting about it. Has it happened yet? Will it still happen? What will be discussed there? And that led to the fact that I discussed this topic with multiple people throughout the conference, although the actual session never happened.
Of course it was postponed probably.
Yeah. Because of this Twitter buzz, someone from Berlin joined in and asked, I think I could need a procrastination coach. Do you actually offer service? Okay. And Mark and I thought, well, this is the leanest possible startup. We have a client, but not yet a product. At another event I was at the Agile Coach Camp Norway, I seriously had a session in the open space with Ken Power joining, Niklas Björnestedt, I think John Jagger was there too, and they were reading what I had written down about the stuff. I had exchanged emails with Chris Matz and Olaf Marson because they're into this real options thing, and to keep your options open until the last responsible moment is a very important thing in Lean. And I think that this is where the interesting bit comes in. In contrast to putting things you want to do in a backlog, where you may have to make a decision that you actually want to do it, and the probability that you will do that, what you have written in the backlog, is actually quite high.
Yeah, because you wrote it down.
Because you wrote it down, yeah. John was just talking about words and how when you write them down, things tend to be more important. Yeah. And when in contrast to that, you don't actually keep a personal backlog, or a backlog for whatever, but do things as they become apparently important. You have more valuable information to decide what actually to do. Because some things you plan to do actually become useless, or become less important, or become influential by other things that happen, by other things you need to do. And that's why we created a game. A last responsible moment game. It was developed at the Play for Agile conference. Mark played it with a colleague of mine at the Agile 2011, one of the few European sessions that actually got accepted there. Cool. I unfortunately couldn't go myself. I played this afternoon in the open space with people. People approached me yesterday. We want to play that game. We'll print out the cards for you and cut them, which is cool. And it teaches you how the different things on your backlog influence each other and get influenced by chance, so that dates for delivery changes, efforts change, value of things you want to do change. And especially if you play this game with teams competing against each other, in contrast to playing at one table with each individual competing against each other, you get this interesting effect that people start to ask themselves about how do we collaborate, how can we help each other, what systematics can we apply to helping each other out, and how to jointly create more value faster with little effort. And what I found out in my own work, that to procrastinate, actively deciding not to do something now, but to for instance, prepare for a talk later, or prepare for a customer session, workshop, training later, actually leads to the fact that when I actually start doing it late, I have more information available.
You've thought about it, it's been in the back of your mind.
It's been background processing because of the fact that I'm very focused on agile, lean, systems thinking, all this stuff. Things I'm actively thinking about influence things I'm not actively thinking about in the way that sometimes problems are solved in the back of my head without me actively approaching these problems. Because of the synchronicity and because of the alignment of the problems I'm tackling.
But what you just said about, let's say, deciding at the last responsible moment, but the procrastination, isn't it so that you don't even defer the decision, but you even defer the choice to make a decision?
Yes.
So you just wait until it pops up and then you decide.
The thing you're actively deferring is to put work into it. Yes. So it's not so much the decision. So I could make a decision, yes, in 2 weeks I do a Kanban training. When I've never done a Kanban training before, that's a decision I make. But the question is, how do I prepare? When do I start preparing? Do I start preparing immediately after making that commitment and put a lot of work in producing slides or whatever? Or do I just wait, because I always meet people who work with Kanban as well, and I can talk to them. And while I talk to them, I find things out that I can use in that training. Maybe someone tells me about a game they played, so someone tells me about an interesting session as an element for training. And so half of the effort might just go away when I start preparing later. And this has happened to me multiple times.
So probably all the big companies in the world are waiting for you to come and give this lean procrastination training.
Yeah, you just gave me this idea because I was only talking and thinking about lean procrastination as a way to improve your own work organization. We developed this funny Shuhari model, which is on our website, where you have, at a shoe level, you have something like getting things done, personal Kanban or Scrum or whatever you do to organize your own work. And when you manage to do that without all the management overhead, because things just happen at the right time, or you do things at the right time naturally, then it's a good way to organize your own work with little overhead. Yeah. But to get rid of the backlog in a company, to defer the decision to do something.
Defer to put it on the backlog.
Yeah, and that is very much in alignment with what we heard this morning about beyond budgeting, so that you don't plan too far ahead, that you decide a budget for a project when it's about to happen, and not decide about the budget of a department a year in advance, because they don't know what projects they will do.
And if you look at how big companies control themselves, most of the time they take a decision today for something they will do in 1 year or so.
Exactly.
So if we would teach the larger companies, and we've talked about enterprise agile in this conference, if we would teach the big companies to defer the decisions until the point that everybody agrees we can't wait anymore, it might solve a lot of things.
Yeah, it definitely would reduce effort and produce more valuable results, because they would do the right things. I think a main problem in Enterprise Agile, I talked to Stephen Perry about that, who had very interesting ideas about that. He says when you apply Agile at the bottom, you only do the wrong things righter.
Yeah.
So you need to start at the top. You need to start to get agile and lean thinking into deciding what we do and why we do it. And then the other things happen almost by themselves, because if you tell people why you do something, they're much more motivated to follow you.
Okay. So, summarizing in what you just explained to me, procrastinating almost everything is a good thing to do, as long as you have people around you that will help you, remind you.
That's a very important part for myself, yes, because I spread so much of what I do and want to do in the network, especially through Twitter. People keep reminding me. Like one thing I'm writing about currently is finding your balance as a coach in multiple dimensions. And I made a commitment at the last Agile Coach Camp Germany to publish a post every 2 weeks. And multiple people keep reminding me, you need to do that. So I don't need to put it in my calendar, because I get mails and tweets and people say, well, I've been waiting for a week.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's a very good externalizing, kind of outsourcing of my personal schedule, if you want to put it that way.
If we look to the future of Scrum, we might even in time have a backlog which only looks ahead 1 or 2 sprints, and the other stuff we will put on it when it's coming towards us.
When you combine the ideas of feature injection with the thing that Liz Kioch is teaching about BDD. If you cut the stories of a sprint from the features you derive from the capabilities of your goal, then you don't need a backlog anymore, because you only decide for the sprint what you want to do in the next week. And that's good, because the backlog is, when you look at it openly, waste.
It's just a tool, and if you find something else it's more lean, you do it.
Exactly.
Okay, Olaf, thanks for your time. You've inspired me to write a column about this. That's what I will do. So thanks.
You inspired me to new things too. So
okay.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck with the training business.
Yeah, thank you.
Making money on the stock market is really easy. Just buy your stocks low and sell them high. Everybody knows that. The main problem is, when are they low and when are they high? In Lean they have something similar. They say, decide at the latest responsible moment. I always ask myself, yeah, it sounds nice, but when is it? When is the latest responsible moment? I always know too late that I've missed the best moment to take the decision. Well, today, talking with Olaf about Lean Procrastination, I learned that if you're in a network and you have enough people around you, things change. You will know when it is important, when people start reminding you. Or when you're in a company, you postpone a decision, you will know when it's there, when customers start asking, the business is asking, so you will know. And we have methods. Look, in Scrum, we have a method of sprints of 2 weeks. So why should we put stuff in the backlog for over 6 months if we're not sure when we work on it? Putting it on the backlog a few weeks or maybe a few sprints in advance might be good enough. And that triggered me, that if we look to Scrum and how we deal with the backlog, most product owners put everything on the backlog. No, it's there, we think about it, and we'll see it when it's important. But putting it on the backlog is a decision too, which we often don't realize. And if it's too far ahead, we still spend effort on it. We're moving it around, we're thinking about it, we're discussing it with people. So one question remains in my head after talking to Olaf is, what will happen if we use Lean Procrastination in Scrum and only use a product backlog which looks ahead 4 sprints and not further? Would it improve things? And Frans, have you taped it?
Yeah, really, it's a wrap.
And what do you think about this?
Well, this Lean Procrastination, I hope my wife doesn't find about it.
Why not?
Well, she has a clean procrastination.
What's that?
She will clean the house at the last responsible moment.
This videoblog is sponsored by Awareness.